This is Lisalee and welcome to my channel. So tonight we are doing an 11/11 portal reading. And I was gonna do a pick a card, but then I realized that first of all, this energy is really powerful. And I was like, I kind of want to harness it because I'm recording this on 11/11, meaning that if you find it at any time, like it's almost like a time capsule. Time is sort of an illusion when with my practice, time is sort of I don't need it. It's like a circle. And so celebrating that, and understanding that this portal is about an energetic reset, a boost, and letting go and a rebirthing. This is a very big initiation portal, like mostly because we just sort of went through a big initiation and we're coming out on the other side of that. So you're gonna find this when you need this energy, that we're recording this right now and it's in the capsule, it's in the time capsule of right now, and your access to it is right now through, this is the portal right here. So I invite you to access this energy for the confidence boost that you need and to do whatever it is that Spirit wants to bring through for us. So I am, you may have noticed that I haven't been around. That's kind of why I was figuring I could do a pick a card reading, because the likelihood that the people who aren't supposed, like no one's going to find this except the people who are the chosen ones, the people who this message is specifically for. And so given my faith, I'm calling it a faith reading. I'm having faith that the people who are supposed to get this, that are on this wavelength, that this is their message, they're going to find it. And you'll know because you'll feel it. My intention is that those who find this and feel a level of peace, I guess is the right way of putting it. It just feels comfortable, inviting, like you feel like you're supposed to be here. If you feel sort of at peace and this is the right vibe, then welcome. This is your reading. I have to ground myself. This energy is so intense. So yeah, I'm gonna have faith that the people who are supposed to find this find this. This is gonna be a good reading. We're gonna look at, let me just ground. If we choose the timeline of our highest alignment, and again, this is a timeless reading, so whenever you come into this, if you choose the timeline of your highest alignment through this portal, this boost, where's it going to bring us? Let's start by looking at where we are going, and we'll look at how to get there after we see where we're going. I don't know why Spirit wants me to do it that way, but I like the sound of it. I like the sound of it. The likelihood of getting all of those cards, but the High Priestess is born. Look at this. I wonder if the lighting is such that you can see. I hope so. Bottom of the deck, we're talking about the High Priestess card, and these are cards that, in answer to the question of where's our highest timeline bringing us? This is really interesting because this speaks to me of the initiation and the initiation process and the initiation that we were all just going through. I want to do a time check on this real fast. Show me, Spirit. All right, let's take a look. Yes. All right. So this is perfect. This is perfect. This is of matters of perception. This is your perception paradigm shift, which is the shift. That is the shift. When your perception shifts completely, you are in a new place. And so this portal is bringing you to that new perception. And let me just look at this real fast. Yep. Yeah. So Spirit is saying that the time of being suppressed, it was kind of for a long time. It went on for, it's almost like Spirit says you can divide the past and the future by this point in time. And the past was a time of being suppressed, of like being, of having to like fight your way through towards like some, you know, getting your needs met. It's a very harsh climate. But Spirit is saying that the High Priestess, it was born through that portal of grief. It almost sounds like, this is very sounding dark, but bear with me, because this is labor pains. That's what these cards mean. This is the labor process. Like, and so Spirit is saying, like, we enter this portal, labor to a certain degree, and we're carrying everything that has transpired in the last, like Spirit is saying, years, you know, like that moment when your spiritual awakening began, and then, you know, the cycles of awakenings to where you are in terms of your like current awakened state. And so all of that work, you know, it's about to ground, and it's about to ground in a way where it has legs, where it goes somewhere, where it's going to, you know, be able to support you. So this is a very big deal, but we are in a labor pains moment. And so Spirit wants to just kind of take a moment to tell you about what is being birthed from this labor pains moment. And I, as a reader, have to take a breath, actually, because this is a somber energy, and I'm not going to stay here for too long. I'm really not, because Spirit is saying move it right along. I'm just going to get 2 more cards right over here. Spirit saying we're going to have balance. There's an integration of self, like the initiation of this is shadow work right here, and the initiation of the shadow work that you have done. A period of balance is on the other side of these labor pains and this birth, and this is what this portal is all about. That's what we're doing right now, trying to maybe get you, hopefully, like midwife you through the birth of this portal right now, in a way. You know, being able to let the things that were dying and needed to die, and that you have purged and been let go, like letting go of, especially this Scorpio season, this eclipse season. This has been a time of deep, like, soul, you know, just like going really deep into the soil and really cleaning out anything that, cleaning out huge boulders. And I mean, this has been a time of intense soul work. And so being able to say, okay, I know what I let go of, but I'm ready now to say with intention, like, I'm letting go of this and I'm stepping through this portal, and on the other side of this portal, there is a me that has let go of this. So we're going to get a little bit on that. And, you know, in terms of the grieving, you know, Spirit is saying, actually, this time, you know, this is like this time of grieving for yourself, versions of yourself that didn't make it through the process, because they were... Spirit is showing me seasons, you know, and there's parts of us that survive everything, and then there's parts of us that go into the seasons, you know, of creating like who we become. And that sounds really abstract. I don't even know if I get it 100%, but that's what Spirit brought through. But this 3 of Swords is about you finally allowing the grieving process that pulls the swords out of your heart. And as you do that, opening yourself up to, you know, knowing yourself in this place of the High Priestess. You know, this is such a depth of knowing yourself that it can never be shaken. It's such a depth of intuition that you have that as your companion always. Like, there's such a gift in this process of labor, and this process of labor is really, you know, it's helping you give birth in full form to that part of yourself that knows deeply, knows itself deeply, understands at a incredibly like almost omnipotent, like very like thorough way. This High Priestess energy is bringing you a level of confidence that isn't something that is skin deep. It's all the way to the core, all the way to the core. It's grounding all the way to the core, in in your abilities, which, you know, Spirit is saying that we're going to see a lot more of our magic, that we're coming, that we're, like, Spirit is showing me, like, with the group that this reading is meant to find, your spiritual gifts are going to become quite, I don't want to say advanced, but you're leveling up. There's like a new level of seeing. There's an expanded sight. You know, there's different textures of sight for some of you. And so Spirit is saying, like, and this is part of what these labor pains are right now, as you open up to the universe that is really birthing something of yourself through you, in the way of, like, you know, your soul even, yes, Spirit is saying your soul expanding from the body. It's something that usually happens as the soul, when the soul leaves the body, there's an expansion when it crosses over, and before there's a resistance to that, but that is if, like, people don't cross over right away. But ultimately, it's allowing the soul to expand and take up as much space as it actually takes up, and instead of trying to control it and keep it small, right? So Spirit is saying to do that in a body, which is what a lot of us are doing right now, is like very rare, and it does have like a ripping, tearing kind of a quality in terms of like what it means to let go of the Spirit is showing you like parts of yourself that don't fit anymore, that you've outgrown, and the worlds that operated around those parts of yourself. So it's kind of a lot. Some more, others. But we have pleasure in taking risks here. With forgiveness on, you know, forgiveness is a big part of the process that we have to, you know, forgiveness is the gateway that we have to go through to finish the process of like the labor pains and birth the thing. And so we're going to look at that next. That's where we're going to go right next with this. But we're talking about integrating the self right now. All the lessons that we had to learn, all the stuff that we were going through, and like, you know, taking that, you know, like allowing ourselves to be in that place that's a little bit malleable, as we like death and rebirth are like so related. And I know that we say that and we understand that all the time, but you know, if you think about, you know, the mortality rates before modern medicine, but I think that's like a bad analogy, because I think midwives have always had such an ability. But it used to be like there were times when women giving birth, it was like 50%. Somebody has to look that up. I don't know where it's coming from, but the bottom line is, you know, it used to be when you gave birth, you had to look at death and say, maybe you will take me with this process. There's a significant chance that that might happen. And so in order for me to do this, I also have to be willing to let go of that. You know, I like one thing is contingent on the other. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen, but Spirit is saying that this is like this opportunity for you to let these things really die and see what that process actually even is in terms of giving birth, and actually and whether or not it's not a real death. Spirit's saying it's to let new life through, you have to very, very much leave what is not a part of that behind. So pulling the swords out, that, and then becoming this high priestess, and we're going through the gateway of forgiveness to allow some of this integration and balance to happen. And there is there's pleasure on the other side of this, but you know, I want to find out what the risk taking is all about, because that I don't even know. Spirit, what is this risk taking about? And then we'll get to the second part. What is this risk taking about? Allowance. Of course, that's what it's about. If you have heard Universal Love 44, this makes perfect sense. If you've heard my readings before, you know that I always read these little blurbs, because it's like an opportunity for me to get better lighting. I wonder what I can do about that. I'm not gonna have time to edit, so we're gonna do our best. Hold on. Let's see if I can adjust things ever so slightly and make it so that you can see better. Yeah. So I'm going to read it, and I want you to be able to see it too, because it's a lot about the pattern. The frequency of allowance invites us to be open to whatever comes our way, without judgment, without opinion, without fear, and without resistance. When we allow, the universe becomes our partner in the wondrous dance of existence and expansion. So Spirit's inviting you to take the risk of like trusting the process right now with this. Spirit saying, if you found this reading, if this reading found you, like, then trusting the process with this reading and where it feels like it's leading. Bottom of the deck, universal love. The frequency of universal love activates the connection we feel to each other, to our planet, and the whole of existence itself. So activating that connection with the Divine Mother, with the Divine, like with the Divine. The Spirit is saying, just, activating that connection with the Divine right now, and being able to just, yeah. So we're gonna say yes, and we're gonna go into the next part of this reading, which is to allow the Divine's guidance to come through. And really, we're looking at what on the other side of forgiving creates this gateway through, what was darker and into what is very bright, almost like the promised land. I'm hearing the promised land. So let's keep it going. Okay, and the High Priestess. So this Spirit is saying this last year, 2 years even, and for some of you, like there's been a strain of this, like your entire life. The last 2 years, man, really intensified things. Spirit is saying, okay, so we're in labor, and this is where you're entering this reading at that willingness for change and allowing, and so that change brings in this High Priestess. We are the High Priestess. And let's see where this is going to take us. Spirit is saying for me to just kind of like listen a little bit more. So a lot of, it's interesting, I'm looking at the crystal ball and I'm seeing a lot of, I'm not going to censor it, a lot of spirits crossing over. And so Spirit's saying this is a time of ascension. He's like, it's a period of ascension. And so it's appropriate to release what is heavy in order to make room for, and then there's like a sunshine. I'm seeing like a sun and a ring around the sun that Spirit is saying, like, your glow up is assured and it's also protected. So that's pretty cool. But there's a lot of people, like a lot of us are just really ascending, and there's some growing pains with that. Yeah, like, so Spirit is saying, like, this King of Cups and this 10 of Wands in reverse, like, in order to bottom of the deck, we have 5 of Swords. Like, there's still this conflict, with what it means to put down that 10 of Wands, put down that former perspective on life, put down that former version of yourself that no longer really fits, that also is entangled with relationships that might not fit right now, and what it all means, and like what it means to put down a life that no longer fits in order to embrace one that is new. And it's new of your manifesting. And we see this whale is rising out of the ocean, and it's comfortably between two worlds. And it's powerful and strong. And so Spirit is saying, in order to have that buoyancy, to receive that cup of love that'll give you this appreciation for your value, it's time to like really let go and put down what is heavy to carry. And by heavy, I mean, it might feel like obligation. It might feel like something that you just have to do, and some of us, every one of us actually struggles with what has to be done. What has to be done to pay the bills, what has to be done to cope with all of everyone has the things that they need to slay in their lives. I wanted to say like slay their dragons, but I've been thinking of dragons as being so helpful lately. There's this need to, give proper weight to the weight of responsibilities, but Spirit is saying, we're working with allowance around taking the risk of letting your perspective possibly change, and where that's leading, and how the first gift is an intuition that knows when it knows, And Spirit is showing me like Toucan Sam, like follow your nose, you know, like it's going to lead you. And so this is the very important thing that's coming through this 1111 portal energy. The energy in this reading right now is that, because this is on 1111, like this is during this time, use this energy whenever you need it. Okay, that's what's Spirit just bring that through again. So you're having this allowance. So Spirit's saying like, okay, let's talk about what it means to put this down, because there's conflict around that. And I want to see what that conflict is. Let's work through it. Let's work through it. Four of Pentacles. The Emperor. Whew. And the Seven of Pentacles, with the Six of Swords and the Nine of Pentacles. Okay. Spirit's saying, let's get clarity. Let's get some clarity. Clarity is because so much of what has to happen is like the work of it. And I still don't see from this too much what unforgiveness has to do with it, but we're gonna get there. But Spirit's saying, you know, like first let's like putting down this weight, whatever this weight is, and it's anything that burdens you to the point where you can't do a thing. Whatever the burden that you have that's on you that you can't do a thing, put a name on that. And for you, that's this Ten of Wands. Like, what does it mean to put that down? Because we're just taking the risk of thinking about it and allowing Spirit to maybe show us something there. Something that is that heavy of a burden. It's hard to put it down, you know, with that little mustard seed of faith that says, like, I'm going to allow a perspective that says I don't have to carry it when I know that I do, right? So this is like, that's the tension that we're looking at here. And so Spirit is saying, this is this allowance. This is this magic that we're using this portal's energy with right now. And again, like, it's when you find it, it's when you need this energy. So what does it mean to put down that burden? And you put the name on that burden, right? Four of Pentacles and the Emperor. Whew, that's energy right there. And these came out in the upright. And, you know, for me, I wanted to see, like, what exactly does that mean? And I got it. But let's just pull this over kind of. Let's see, how do I want to work with this? I want to work with it like this. When we're talking about the Four of Pentacles energy, and I'm going to hold this up so you get to see it. When we're talking about that Four of Pentacles energy, I see, this is very interesting. I see a mother here. This is what Spirit is showing me. And I see these, you know, these little rabbits are her like little babies. Now, this is part of, you know, divination is you just let what come, the story that wants to tell itself, right? So there's the rabbit's mom, these little bunnies, their mother is looking for them. And these little bunnies, this mother feels like these are all her responsibility. These are her responsibility. And she's so worried because she's saying, you know, it's my responsibility. Like these little rabbit babies, there's no mommy around and it's my responsibility. And there's these two little guardian birds, and there's also this, the actual mother that is looking for these little babies. And so spirits, you know, this is, and these spirits showing me these two, like there's so much beauty in this, and there's mystery. Okay, so Spirit is saying there's so much beauty in this love that you have for every living creature that needs a mother that you find. And it's because you so badly need mothering, or so badly needed mothering. And it has made you beautiful. And there's always been guardians with you that have given you enough of that to create the warrior spirit that you are, the Venus that you are. You know, there's like all these energies that I see coming through. You know, all the goddesses, there's strains of love that have, you know, found you and gone into making you who you are. That, you know, that tapestry of feminine energies, that is healing right now, that, you know, that's really helping you with healing your like the feminine energy, the receptive energy. And so Spirit is saying, you know, that there's the message with this card is, so, you know, there's this feeling of desperation around like, like someone has to do something. Someone, I can't just leave things as they are. It looks really like reckless and dire to do that. And meanwhile, Spirit is saying, like, actually, like, I have provided guides for you to lead you where you're going, and also, like, I'm taking care of more than you realize. Spirit's like volunteering and saying, like, I'm like, have some level of faith in the synchronicities and the series of events around you that might make absolutely no sense until later. And that's the hand of, like, and Spirit is saying the mother, like, this is the divine feminine, like, divine energy. This is the mother energy coming in. And so Spirit is saying, you know, with this portal, of course, like, there's this giving birth, you know, this is the divine mother coming in and, like, holding your hand in this and saying, like, you know, I'm in charge. That's what this Emperor card is with this Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles is like, I'm not enough. Like, disaster will strike at any moment. I won't be prepared. I don't know how I'm going to do it. You know, it speaks to lack mentality, but, you know, but to bring that into human terms, you know, like, how can I possibly do what I want to do or need to do given the circumstances that I'm in, is what that Four of Pentacles mean. And so the Spirit, you know, Spirit saying, like, you know, the Emperor energy that is coming in for you, through you, for many of you, not knowing where you're going to get the strength. Spirit is saying the strength is coming through this willingness, you know, this portal of accepting that, like, that Emperor energy is arriving for you to take control and dominion over your life. And whether that comes through you just, like, as an energy that you now feel that you have, or, you know, Spirit places the right people in your life who can lend you that energy and help you along, like, in that energy. Spirit is saying, like, here's, like, the gift of right now is like part of what it means for you to put that 10 of Wands energy down. To put that burden that seems impossible to put down, to put it down, whatever that is named for you. Spirit says, you know, there's a moment right now where it's that authority, that dominion over your life, that control that you can't possibly have in this situation, but you can have through this avenue of grace. And it's coming through really interesting. Spirit is saying, like, you know, whether it comes through you or you find it around you, but it's there. And I'm moving through, someone has very heavy doubt. You know, like, someone that really has heavy doubt, and I'm feeling them. And so I'm going to stop for you, person with heavy doubt, and we're just going to take a couple of cards and see what Spirit wants to say. It's interesting. This is coming through like a sermon, and even I have a reaction to it where I'm like, that sounded awful, like good news messagey kind of a thing. But the candles are wands. So yeah, this inner conflict about the Four of Pentacles. You know, the likelihood that these cards are gonna come out this way. This is Four of Pentacles. Yeah, this is Four of Pentacles in this deck. Spirit says, you know, the inner conflict, that doubt is part of this inner conflict. And, you know, there's an opportunity to, like, ascend into a perspective here that looks at the magic of the Four of Pentacles coming out, clarifying this Four of Pentacles and this Five of Wands coming out, to say, yeah, there's a lot of inner conflict because fear. Because fear, you know, like the there's not enough is almost, like, Spirit says, it's almost hard baked into a point where it's like a song, like, yeah, like it's hard to get that, to get it out of your head. And so when we look at this Four of Pentacles, Spirit is saying, here's the answer. One step at a time. You know, Spirit is showing me this Seven of Pentacles, and see all these little webs? Spirit is saying that's work, but it's actually beautiful work. And so Spirit's saying, you know, what I'm promising you in terms of not, you know, well, yeah, say promising is coming through. I'm just going to say it like it is. I'm channeling such a divine, yeah, very interesting energy, like a Magdalene energy. So the Seven of Pentacles, this is, Spirit is saying, like, you're gonna have to work. There is a need to start working real hard, but beautiful hard, like actually building toward something that is going to give you more than just enough hard. something that you want to create, that you're driven to create from a place that's your true north. And Spirit's saying that, like, you know, for you to, with the Six of Swords, there's just a need to move from one perspective to another, in order to get yourself to this Nine of Pentacles place. Spirit is saying Seven of Pentacles for you right now, you know, in this agreement about what it is that is being given to you in this, because we're having an energetic reset. This is what this reading is all about. And this portal is about, like, the new, and you know, letting go of the old and stepping into the new. So Spirit's saying, what's in the new for you? The new is Seven of Pentacles work, but it's these beautiful spider webs that come from your instinct and who you are and how you want to express yourself and what it means to be you. And it's beautiful, like, breathtaking work that feels good, right? Yeah, Spirit saying, like, this is, yeah, true north. This is in alignment with where you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to be, your purpose. It feels good. And Spirit is saying that will lead you to that Nine of Pentacles. But the Six of Swords is about moving from something so chaotic into a much calmer space. And so when we talk about the perspective shift on your burden, we're talking about, you know, starting with being able to move to a calmer space in your mind about this burden. And you can name it anything you want. Spirit keeps on coming back to, you know, for different people, it's going to be different things, but for you, you know, you name it anything. Yeah, Spirit's saying, you know what your big burden that you feel like there's no choices. And that's the Spirit saying moving to a calmer space. When we think about that, is like the first step in, like, you know, letting, it's like a white knuckling, you know, the first step in being able to stop white knuckling this worry about, like, how am I going to do this myself? Like, how do I take care of myself? How do I take care of the people that I care about? Like, what are people, like, how do I, you know, that's what this is. And Spirit is saying, okay, well, the first like releasing of that white knuckling control, in order to allow for this dominion to come into you know, for you to have that dominion over your life, for you to be in your power, for you to be able to push forward with your agendas and your plans in a way that that gets you to that Nine of Pentacles place. So Spirit is saying, you know, so first we're having that perspective shift. That's what we need for this Four of Pentacles, is just to get to that calmer space about thinking about this burden. And the Emperor brings that calmer space in when we think about this burden. When the Emperor says, you know, Ace of Swords speaks of the truth. Five of Pentacles speaks about being left out. It speaks about not having support. It speaks about, you know, like just doing it on your own and being cold and hungry and need. It really speaks of unmet need. And the Eight of Wands, it speaks of rapid movement, rapid communication, lots of inspiration coming in. And so Spirit is saying, you know, the truth is you're contending with two things at once. You're contending with when we talk about this burden, some of this burden is just the trauma of its ever-present tyranny that has been in your life for a while, and the center stage that takes, that it demands in some ways. And so Spirit's saying, like, you know, when we bring this truth, you know, and again, this is part of that High Priestess energy of that conviction within, that knowing, that seeing, that understanding, and then that standing rooted in that. Unshakable, and, you know, and I want to say, like, all seeing to a certain degree, like with this very, like, with beautiful perspective, beautiful sight. So Spirit is saying, you know, the truth, you know, is that you are contending with, you know, the awakening that you had that brought you to this level of magic did require you to be in this position of need as like a need that is tyranny, or a situation that is tyrannical, you know, in nature, whether it be poverty or, you know, or illness, you know, things like that. You know, it's really serious. That's Five of Pentacles. That's what that ends up being. Spirit is saying there's a lot of inspiration and a lot of energy coming in, and it's coming in rapidly. And again, I'm drawn to this snake. You're having this tremendous awakening, and there's a vitality that is coming back. Like Spirit saying, the vitality is through this portal. But you're also contending with, you actually have to contend with that Five of Pentacles, which is, it's like Spirit is saying, you know, it's coming through as like, I know how difficult it is. I know how hard it was, and I know that it's a big deal. You know, there's no minimizing it. Living through living through that Five of Pentacles, or like whether it's something you've just lived through, or it's something that you're still living through, you know, anything that had that kind of tyrannical influence over your life, that's like that feeling of I'm not enough to fight that off or to deal with that burden. And Spirit is saying, no, bringing in that authority and that, and whether Spirit's bringing it in the form of people who are gonna, you know, bring that aid, or energies, you know, like angelic assistance, you know, or opportunities. There's all kinds of ways that Spirit can bring this in. And again, Spirit is saying, and for many of you, you're pulling it, it's coming through you. That Emperor energy that really takes control. But you are contending with that old you was very much in that Five of Pentacles space. The you that you're trying to transcend right now may be in that Five of Pentacles space. And so it's this truth, you know, looking the truth in the face and saying like, yeah, I have to contend against how that affected me, what that did to me, you know. For some of us, it's like how that wounded me. For others, it's like, you know, how that seems to hold power, you know, in these various ways, like over, you know, how I'm perceived or how I, you know, Spirit's bringing through so much here. It's like, whenever we perceive something as having more power, or making us powerless and leaving us at a great disadvantage in relationship to our needs. Spirit is saying, like, you know, that pretty much can go over most people's label of, like, right below most people's label of what their burden is. And Spirit is saying, you know, to contend with that. And that's what we're looking at right now. To contend with that during this portal in order to get to this King of Cups place of strength is to actually venture out. And let's take a look at what that means. These two. Hope is like a hummingbird. Hope is like a hummingbird. It's little. It's something that like pops out of nowhere, and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, is that like beautiful little, like, every time a hummingbird shows up, it's a surprise for me anyway. Even when I have like a hummingbird feeder and they're everywhere, I still feel like this enchantment. And so Spirit is saying, you know, hope is a kind of like enchantment, allowing yourselves to have that enchantment right now of hope. It's part of this alchemy of change that Spirit is saying, like, this is kind of the good part. This is like the, you know, the cotton candy part, is allowing for this alchemy of hope to enter, you know, in the same way that like seeing a hummingbird is always a surprise, and you know, it's always enchanting. And so like the enchantment, Spirit's inviting you into an enchantment that is part of the alchemy of leaving this portal with what you came here needing to move through with. Yeah, Spirit's kind of showing me like a lot of people moving through. That's what I keep seeing in there. All right, let me just see these. So in the reverse, what we're looking at is all of these things that are a little bit of a challenge. The lonesome gardener, you know, how do you venture out? Like, what are the steps? You know, like, Spirit is saying, look, wherever you are, like, look around. You see how this creature is going for the pumpkin? Sort of like just going to the grocery store, or like going and do the thing, you know, going to get the need met. Spirit is saying, you know, there's a little spider here. This is this new friend, right? And so Spirit's saying it's not really trite to say that like the influences that are meant to come and help you along and be a part of your life and build towards something, these are always small encounters at first. And Spirit's saying, and so you almost let the small encounters lead the way. And that's what's coming through. And also, Spirit wants to like congratulate you. I'm seeing this bird is coming in with a message from Spirit and saying, like, you know, there were a great many consolations and healings and things that you learned during your period of isolation. There's a lot that you gathered, that you created. There's a lot of like, I'm seeing the Empress. That period of time was a time of the word incubation is coming through where the creation of who you were to become was coming to term. And so there's a lot that Spirit said, like there's a lot that you got during this growth, like this process of growth in the dark, you know, the constellations. You're going to be able to reap the reward of what you learned from that space. In the vastness of it all, and yet the path grows lighter. And so what Spirit is saying here is, in the vastness of it all, Spirit saying, like, it might seem like a huge daunting thing. Like, this is a huge mountain to climb. Like, oh my gosh, look at that wall I have to scale. Or like, wow, that's 1,000,001 stairs. And you know, there's Spirit is saying, like, it might seem overwhelming. Whatever this goal or this desire past the burden is, might seem overwhelming in scope. But Spirit is saying, like, one step at a time, your path is going to, you know, the light on your path will just get lighter and lighter and lighter. And as that sun comes up, you know, this is sort of, you know, it's a one step at a time sort of process. In terms of faith, actually, you take that first step in faith and all of the other steps follow. That's sort of the message. And so what does this have to do with forgiveness? We're going to look really quick, because I thought that was where this was all going. And yet Spirit really just wanted to sort of deal with, like, moving you out of one space of feeling and being state, and into another. 3 of Wands, 2 of Pentacles, 2 of Wands, and the 5 of Wands in reverse, with the Princess of Wands here. That's a lot of wands. And, you know, it's interesting because it's Spirit is saying, like, as you put down the inner conflict related to the power that the burden holds, you'll begin to find balance and start to make a plan, because Spirit is saying there's something coming towards you. There was a karmic release, and there is 2 things that are coming through. One, Spirit is saying that things are going to go smoother now. The things that were in the way, the blockages that were in the way, have been removed. There might be soreness, like where those wounds were just dealt with. There might be a level of soreness in this healing process right now, or there's still some tenderness. But Spirit is saying, like, what used to be a hindrance, interference and blockages, that stuff is removed now. And so you're going to find that every time you make a decision towards planning your future, in the direction of putting down fear as the biggest motivator, putting down this burden as something that has to, like, that holds the priority that it does, Spirit's saying this is, you know, there's such an energy that keeps on coming through that's so mad. Because whoever has this burden that is really really difficult, that seems like too much, keeps on being like, you know, don't you think if I could have, I would have, like, found my way through the labyrinth in my head to like a manner of being that made this more bearable if I could? Like, do you really think that just by choosing not to be in conflict about this and allowing myself to take one step at a time and making plans towards my goal, that it's going to bring me where I deserve to be in terms of receiving? Spirit is saying, yes, this is the risk taking and the allowance that we're starting with. And this is actually what we're taking with us from this energy. In the, you know, that 1111 portal energy that I'm operating with and through right now. Yeah, Spirit is saying that this is, to whoever I have to just kind of keep on talking to, yeah, that's what it ends up being. And so Spirit is saying, you know, take that first step. I'm seeing the man on the moon, and so Spirit is saying it's like, it's a light step. You know, that's where Spirit's saying you may be looking out and being like, you know, this is a really big vastness of everything. This is really overwhelming. And Spirit is saying, you know, it's like, just take it one step at a time. That's all that you're being asked to do, is just take it one step at a time. Get up in the morning and say, you know, Spirit, help me take this one step at a time. Show me where it leads, and show me what leading, you know, that leading feels like, and what it means to be led. Like, just, you know, like, start with that allowance. And so how this relates to forgiveness is, you know, almost like Spirit saying, I want you to kind of forgive your past and the way in which your past determined your future. Because now we're taking control, we're bringing that Emperor energy in, and we're bringing that dominion over our life in the form of the help that we're allowing ourselves to receive, you know, either through bringing that authority in directly, you know, asking from source directly, or, you know, asking our guides to bring this in, or asking, you know, that we, you know, be shown like the people that are bringing this energy in, like whatever combination Spirit's bringing this Emperor energy in to assist you. Spirit is saying, you know, you got to forgive the past. You got to forgive the past that determined your future, because now things have changed. You've done the work. This birth is happening. You're no longer carrying the weight of all of this because you're putting it down. You're allowing something new to come forth. And as you do that, ooh, this message, my goodness, grounding. As you do that, Spirit's saying, I'm going to meet you with what the work that you have done is bringing back to you in the way of profit and rewards. So, one step at a time, and forgive the past. In order to do this, there's this need to forgive the past and allow for the possibility that the future could be different. Like that this is possible. Because in the past it's like, yeah, but in the past it wasn't possible. And so Spirit is saying, no, like we're going to forgive the past, you know, for seeming to be in control and to determine where you are right now. And we're going to decide in this moment and in this place of agreement, in this energy, we're going to decide that no, the past no longer determines the future. And and that new energy is welcome in to bring what is needed to where it is needed, to get these needs met, and to allow for an environment, a fertile environment for growth and expansion and creativity, and bringing forth where the new you belongs and should be, you know, in relationship to all of these manifestations that you experiences. And so we're going to feel what that you feels like, because that's the you that you're going towards. That's what we're accepting right now. That's what we're allowing right now. And what that comes with is taking one step at a time and putting down the conflict about what the past used to say about the future. And so let's look at people real fast before we get some last cards, because you know, it seems like what we're being shown. I want to look at people, because relationships are a big part of what this portal is doing. So let's take a look at some people, and we're going to get some information on that. I will let this reading go long, because it's not a pick a card, and I feel like the people who are here, if you have to come down, you know, break it up. You know, if it's resonating and you're feeling it, it's for you, and I'm not going to cut it short. So let's look at people real fast. Let's look at people. The Hermit. The Hierophant. And the World. And the Star. You know, it's interesting because this represents facets of yourself. And I think that speaks to isolation, honestly, because we see it here with the Five of Pentacles, and we also see it here with the Lonesome Gardener, and we there's another place that shows up somewhere around here, but Spirit is showing me that it's not so much the people around you anymore. This is sort of like where we're going to have this moment of reflection and reflect on the growth that you've already done, and just be with you in this moment of saying, hey, you, before you did this back-breaking shadow work, you know, when we talked about the people in your life, the people in your life had so much power over you. And their perspective of you had so much power over you, and you let the perspective of others in some ways define you, or you were constantly using energy to defend yourself. That's my cat, who I guess that's like confirmation. Spirit is saying you're free. And this is my cat again. I'm not gonna have time to edit this, so if just give me a second. Toby, get out of there. Get out of there. Sorry about the interruption. I have a cat. Spirit is saying that, like, really wanting to congratulate you and be in this space. And there's like a lot of confirmation, you know, there used to be so much in the way of interruption and interference based on how people felt about you. And that's cleared away because of that hermit time where you were really able to build that internal structure that is changing the way that you view absolutely everything. Because this new cycle, you know your value, and you're in a much, Spirit saying you're in a healed place. So when you look at having to start something new, you know, like you had to start something new in the past, or when you look at something you dealt with in the past and what a Goliath it feels like, Spirit is saying, like, this version of you that took all, you know, was led by the Spirit, created an internal structure, has a total paradigm shift and perspective shift on the world around you, is healed. That healed version of yourself, contending to the newness of what's coming. The past is not going to be like the future. The future is very different. You're very different. And so, you know, these are all things that you've integrated with yourself. And so Spirit's saying, like, again, like to that time that you had to spend with yourself. And for some of you, the time that you're even spending right now. This has been a time of self-actualization. And so Spirit is saying, you know, what's coming in, you know, that Three of Wands, what's coming towards you in the way of, like, the effort that you put out there, you know, stuff is coming back. Spirit is saying, this is the work that you did. You know, this is the work that you did. And so, job well done. Now, you know, when you open the door and when you're looking at that vista and you're thinking, like, that's a lot of vastness. That's a big mountain. Spirit's saying, yeah, but it's a different you that's going to be scaling that mountain, and it's going to feel like the moonwalk. Like, you're going to feel, it's going to be easy. You're going to open the door and you think it's like, you know, hurricane or something. And Spirit's saying, like, it's not. It's, Spirit's saying this is going to be so easy. When you take these steps forward and you begin to take these steps forward, Spirit's saying this is going to be so easy. This is, like, Spirit's saying, this is like, for lack of a better word, like, it's almost like lubricated almost. Like the resistance that you're used to is going to not be there. Heart chakra and earth. Yeah, grounded in what you love. And that's the authority. This is that Emperor card, really. You know, the frequency of authority reminds us that true authority is powerful, directed, and realized, yet receptive, wise, and loving. Spirit is saying, you know, highlighting this as being, you know, like all of the facets of yourself that have come together to create this healed version of you in this beautiful way, in this new world for you. You know, that's like, that's the first, like, just acknowledging that is like the first flex of that inner authority that this process is giving you as a gift, that you're going to be able to either pull through you, or Spirit is saying, for some of you, I'm blessing you and, you know, in external ways with this. But for most of you, I really do feel having that inner authority just kind of pop up and be like, where did you come from? And how do you know the way? And since when has this been so easy? Since when has like going after my goals and taking steps in those directions actually yielded? It's almost like somebody who's been praying their whole life and no one has ever answered their prayer, and then they pray, you know, to you know, a new deity or a different deity, and suddenly, instantly, the prayer is answered. Spirit is saying it's like that's kind of the difference, you know, that you're gonna, you know, get to experience like every step towards your goal from here on out, you know, in allowance with what's coming through here, and, you know, what you've built and what you've done, the work that you've done to become the person that you are. The person that you are, things are easy. You're remembering the person that you were, and there's a siren going off, so this is really, you know, Spirit saying, when you think back on the person that you were and that person's capabilities, and you measure yourself against the person that you were and their capabilities, Spirit is saying you're no longer that person, and your capabilities are 10 times that. And as soon as you test it, you're going to find out just how easy and how smooth things are going to go from this point on. And this is where the faith comes in, to take that first step and experience that. You know, with the Earth card here, we're talking about grounding your heart's desire. And so, you know, that's what Spirit's saying, you know, that's what we're bringing in. We have to forgive the past, allow, you know, for the possibility of accepting that this authority is coming towards you, and either, again, through you or around you. Like, there's dominion coming over. Yeah, Spirit saying there's going to be some dominion over your life in a positive way, where where there's a reward system that you can begin to experience that will build and build and build and build and build. So it's taking that first step in that direction. And so, you know, in terms of relationship, let me just grab this deck right here. In terms of relationships that are coming through, you know, grounding your heart's desires, let's take a look at what does Spirit want to say about relationships. Let me just, okay. So this is, you know, this last, gosh, this was last, was it the fever moon? I'm like drawing a blank suddenly of what we're, beaver moon, in Taurus. Yeah, this is grounding, this is almost repeating. But it's giving us this extra sort of little bit of information. There's a comfort that's going to come with you exploring your goals in relationship to that North Node, that destiny. You're going to feel much more in balance because you're in alignment with where you're supposed to be going. And so, you know, as you take these risks, you know, and as you allow for this new energy to come in, that hummingbird of hope, you know, as you sort of like allow that enchantment and that wonder, you know, that lightness of being, like, enter and breathe into, you know, what it means to be taking one step after the other towards the things that you want to create. In alignment with your destiny, there's a balance and there's a comfort and there's an ease. And so, you know, doing this work on your heart, you know, your heart was broken. You know, that's what we saw, and, you know, part of this labor process. Excuse me, I just need to grab some water. Part of what it meant to be in labor and to be going through this labor and for the birth to be putting down that burden is an acceptance that who you are now, when you take these risks, when your heart's healed, when you've pulled those swords out of your heart, let your heart heal. And as your heart is healing, and as you've done that work on healing your heart, because so much of creativity and everything that's being created comes through the heart, especially for you. It's a powerhouse part of you. Your heart is miraculous. Like your heart creates miracles. I'm seeing that. Spirit showing that to me. And grounding that ability, it's going to make, like, all the foreboding that's happening in your mind, like fear of, like, can I handle this? Can I do this? Is this right? Is it Spirit saying, shh, like, this is different. You're in alignment with your destiny. There's a balance to what it means to be working in that direction or taking steps in that direction. It feels good. It's rewarding just doing it. And so Spirit is acknowledging once again that the heart healing is such a big part. And you may have felt like your heart healing was like just work that you did for yourself, and I don't know why I did this, and, you know, this is just what I needed to do because my heart needed to heal. But Spirit is saying, like, what you did in the way of healing your heart is so magnificent in relationship to becoming that high priestess, and the star, you know, and like rise, that healing has really given you a connection to the heavens, and you're so grounded into the earth, and that's this balance that we're seeing. So you're going to be in alignment with your destiny when you put down this burden long enough to breathe some hope into that space that allows you to take one step at a time towards that thing that you really want. And so we're going to end with a shadow work prompt, which I know is kind of a weird thing, but Spirit is saying, like, we're in this portal right now and it's not going to be a hard shadow work. Well, all shadow work is cathartic, you know, in nature. So whatever Spirit is going to bring through, Spirit is going to bring through. But that shadow work prompt is going to be followed by a little bit of advice from Spirit on how to do whatever it is that needs to be done, so that you can fully, like, have that confidence, take that confidence with you, like, you know, have that energetic reset, and breathe, and allow for the, you know, allow for the risk taking involved with allowing that little bit of hope to be something that you have enough faith in that it helps you take those steps. And as you take those steps, that's when Spirit's like, then you're gonna see, then you're gonna see that there's an ease in it. That doesn't mean you're not gonna have annoying moments or hard days. It just means that overall, the you that you've become is masterful, and that this is in alignment with who you are, and it's going to be easier by a long shot. Let's see. Oh, that's so weird. So what's hidden from you? Under the heading of what is hidden from me, Spirit is saying, lightning in this deck is swords. And so Spirit is saying, putting down conflict around what it means to succeed. And with the King of Lightning and the commitment and the strength, and sometimes the, you know, the pragmatic, you know, the King of Swords is someone who gets the job done, you know, who delivers, who puts everything aside so that they can, like, think their way through a situation. This is a logical sort of head over heart kind of a thing. And so Spirit is saying, you know, victory for you to a certain extent, you know, in relationship to what it means to, because this is the 10 of Swords in reverse. Like when we said earlier with that 5 of Pentacles and that 8 of Wands, like, you do have to contend with the healing parts of you and the parts of your life that are still healing around those healing parts of you. Or the lessons that you're in that have you feeling partially healed. Like, there's a lot of variations of, like, you know, having to move and do something and be creating something, even though there are still painful aspects from the past that still affect you. There's that pragmatic, you know, part of it. And so Spirit is basically saying, like, you know, shadow work is interesting. Shadow work prompt, and like, part of the shadow work prompt is, like, you're invited to disagree with it. You're invited to sort of debate with it a little bit. Putting down your fight when it comes to things that, like, you know, Spirit is saying there's going to be victory here. So what would it mean for you to put down the fight? This is it. What would it mean for you to put down the fight about how logical it would be for you to have victory given how many defeats you've had in the past? That's the shadow work prompt. What would it mean for you to put down the fight about whether or not victory is possible for you, given what you understand from a logical standpoint of what happened in the past? So that's your shadow work prompt. Spirit wants you to actually, you know, sort of take the information in this reading, like, one step forward, you know, if you feel to, and actually write this out. Like, what would it mean? And Spirit says, you know, and the answer to what it would mean, and we're going to get some just, you know, a little bit more on that. I got, like, chills from that. That's a hard homework assignment. And again, this is just, you know, for those of you who feel inspired to do it, you know, just to maybe even ground what's coming through here in terms of Spirit saying, like, this is much easier than you think it is. And the minute you take that first step, it's going to build and be rewarding and be easy. And I'll meet you with what you, Spirit saying, what you deserve. Once you start taking those steps, your karma, you've got some really good karma rolling in fast that just wants to meet you with each step that you take. And so we're going to close with some advice from Spirit overall, and like a loving word. Like, we're going to close with a gift from Spirit in terms of what's being activated through this portal in this reading. Passion, empowerment, and the sacral chakra. So this is beautiful energy. This is, you know, and the divine masculine energy, that's almost like, well, let's read it. The frequency of divine masculine supports our strong, focused, and active side, allowing it to express itself while helping us to bring our dreams and ideas into form with kindness and wisdom. So this is some of that like grounding energy related to taking that one step at a time. That's what this is. You know, this is the energy of taking that one step at a time, letting passion lead you. The frequency, and you're going to have that vitality. You're going to leave it with that boost. And that confidence, you know, and saying like, I accept that boost and I accept that confidence. The frequency of passion reminds us that beneath every intense emotion lies the hidden gem of insight, balance, and calm. It assists us in finding the balance within this intensity, moving us from the chaos to the calm of its core, where we can let its long-lasting wisdom fill us up. And this really speaks to that Six of Swords card that we have over here. You know, moving from chaos into calm, about how we think about our burdens and the possibility of what it means to be free of them, you know, that liberation. Spirit saying like you're getting the empowerment, whether it's through external avenues or through something that is born internally through this process of giving birth to the new you, basically, is what Spirit's saying. The frequency of empowerment supports our ability to show up fully and completely, uniting us with others in the deep trust that we all are connected through the same source. You know, this is trust. So, you know, Spirit's saying like that's the power that you get from trusting. That's what Spirit is just like, that came through very heavy. The power that you get through trusting is so much of what's going to heal and expand and boost this sacral chakra energy for you, that vitality that you're getting. The frequency of the sacral chakra, the orange flower of life, supports our ability to flow with our desires and stimulates our creative power to manifest success and abundance in our lives. I love it. A little tiny bit more of advice, and then we're going to close out because this is getting kind of long. But this is a powerful portal, and Spirit is saying, you know, this is the 10 of Cups, and where, you know, we started with this reading, you know, you entered the portal. You know, that's what this eclipse season has been all about, is just, you know, letting go of stuff that once was and it wasn't, hopes that didn't actualize or did, or, you know, the burden that was really stealing our 10 of Cups, really stealing our happiness. Spirit is saying that, like, you know, here's the advice. This is meant to be yours. You know, you're meant to feel good about your life and the people in it and what you've created and your comfort level. You know, you're designed for, Spirit's saying it's not the prosperity gospel. This is really about emotional fulfillment. And Spirit's saying you're designed for emotional fulfillment. And, you know, through this portal and through this empowerment, you know, the commitment that you're making to yourself to take those one step at a time and to allow the enchantment of what it means to know that you're going to get what's coming towards you in the way of rewards and blessings. Again, Page of Swords, the message here is that you've done enough healing at this point with that Four of Swords to begin to... Spirit is showing me this as being false beliefs about what you thought was going to make you happy that didn't make you happy, or efforts that you thought would pay off that didn't, you know, ways in which you thought you were established and it turns out it wasn't, and that all of that loop-de-loo that led you on the spiritual awakening that has brought you here to this commitment to this new version of yourself. Spirit saying this leads to wish fulfillment. Like, you're going to get what you want from this process of all of this letting go. That 10 of Cups is there for you. but it's with that one step at a time. Six of Pentacles, you know, Spirit saying take that first. We started with the Five of Pentacles over here, something that you have to contend with. So from that Five of Pentacles space where you have to contend with the fact that you're taking your step out of that Five of Pentacles spot into that Six of Pentacles spot, believing that the universe is generous and will be generous to you, and taking that step in that belief and in that place and with that faith. And so Spirit is saying, you know, the gift is that this message found you, that this resonated enough that you feel it at that level, and that you're willing to, you know, take the risk of allowing for these blessings that are going to meet you step for step as you take each step towards those goals. And so it's not the most exciting, you know, reading that, you know, has ever been, but Spirit is saying your commitment to yourself is going to bring that 10 of Cups. And it's a lot easier than it has ever been before. And so we're just going to accept this. And I think that's where we're going to end this reading today. I'm just going to see if there's anything else that wants to come through. No, that's everything. So we can end here. For those of you that have been wondering, like, where the heck did Lisalee go? I moved, and I was also going through my own, you know, part of my craft and my practice is that I allow for these periods of initiation that sometimes kick my butt to such a degree that you know, I'm never going to sit down to the table, you know, when I'm not in tip-top shape, because I want to be that clear channel. And for me, you know, if I ever find that you know, I'm trying to get to that table so that I don't lose the followers, the views, you know, I you know, my plan at this point, because I'm settled, you know, is to start showing up at the table, because the Spirit has sort of given me that release, and I've, you know, been through that, you know, my own personal initiation, and my own personal growth spurt. Like, I feel ready to be at the table again. So I do plan to be back, as often as I can, putting videos up, and I hope that this was helpful. I miss you guys, and I miss doing this so much. I always feel like this is something that I love doing so much, and I love interacting with you and your energy, and I hope that this was a blessing. So I'm going to close this channel now, not the channel, not my, look at me like babbling. I guess there's something else that wants to come through, and I'm just going to give it to whoever is stuck around for this extra minute. Oh yeah, Spirit is saying, like, you know, for those of you that are still here, like, you've been through your initiation too. And whatever you didn't get done in the time that you needed to take for that initiation, whatever didn't just click into place the way it was supposed to during that initiation, whatever seemed too hard or like it wasn't, you know, like you had to struggle, you know, whatever like caused this birth, you know, Spirit is this birth of the new you, and what had to die, like whatever caused that, Spirit is saying, like, whatever delayed in terms of what you were able to produce or create, it's not lost. You know, that wasn't periods of loss. That was initiation. And now we're going to see, in alignment with your true north, we're really going to see these breakthroughs for you. Every single step you take towards those goals, Spirit's going to meet you step for step. And you're empowered to do this. The way is clear. So yeah, that's everything that came through. Anyway, I want to be back more. I'm going to try to get regularly in front of the table because I miss you. And this is the 1111 portal. Quite a lot of gifts coming through, and allowing those gifts and just breathing that in, and then leaving this reading with a feeling of confidence and a feeling of hope. And also vitality. So let's end with that, and I'll see you again soon.